Hi, Garth Clarkson here, and I know it's been about 5 years since I did a video. Um, Most of my small group of followers and friends would know that I've been very sick, and my last set of videos were basically done so that I could pass on some of my knowledge before I died, because I felt genuinely that I wasn't going to be here that much longer. That's still that's still on the cards because, well, my heart arteries are totally cactus, as one of my doctors said, and yeah, they're below 20 microns thick, where they're supposed to be around, 1800 to 2000 microns in a healthy person. And so doctors keep asking me, why are you still alive? And I just jokingly say to them that I probably haven't done what I was put here to do yet. But miraculously, about 18 months ago, or a little less than 18 months ago, I discovered the low-carb diet, and it has totally turned my life around. Those who know me are constantly saying, I can't believe how much weight you've lost. I can't believe how good you're looking now. It's true, like there's a hill around here which I still hate climbing, because it means I have to pump the spray under the tongue a few times to not collapse on the way up. But I used to get up that hill 5 years ago in about 40 minutes of stagger, stagger, pause, puff, puff, stagger, stagger, pause, puff, puff. And then now I can get up that hill in about 7 to 10 minutes with only one spray of the thing, and I still get a bit of the chest pains and whatever, but well, that's pretty normal these days for me. I'm used to having heart attacks left, right and centre, so if I don't have a heart attack, it's all good. Lots and lots of people ask me what the secret to this amazing turnaround in my health is. And apart from the fact that the amazing miracle power of God kept me alive until I discovered the keto diet, it's been the keto diet. Or, yeah, I'm not terribly strict on it. I'd probably call myself more low carb, which is around 20% or less of my total calorie intake would be carbs, followed by around 20% to 25% in protein, and the rest is fat. Not just any fat. I avoid vegetable oils like the plague, except for olive oil. Olive oil's good, but generally most of the fat I eat is good quality saturated animal fat, with a good bunch of saturated vegetable fat like coconut oil, which is almost pure medium chain triglycerides, which are external or exogenous ketones, which are really good as an alternate fuel for the brain and for the heart. So yeah, so it's totally flies in the face of everything we were taught about what healthy food was, but the results speak for themselves. We've been lied to, people, because of big commercial interests who have suppressed the truth globally. And now we're all getting sick. Half the world is the Western world, half the Western world is pre-diabetic. And the more the reach of big global companies are going into poor third world countries, the more they're picking up the same diseases as we are. They're starting to get diabetes, they're starting to get heart disease. As my Singaporean Chinese doctor said to me the other day, they were always skinny, but they come to the West and they get fat. And yeah, shout out to Dr. Tang. Thank you, you're an amazing doctor. Someone who's brave enough to work with me on my low carb journey. Keep an eye on me, make sure I don't go too nuts and kill myself. and so I really appreciate his help. Yeah, I suggest none of you do this just through watching videos and that sort of thing. I really suggest that you find a doctor, a physician who is open to new information. Share my KetoLinks document with them, get them doing some research. Ask them if they've taken the Hippocratic Oath. A lot of newer doctors haven't. That's no longer a requirement in Australia to take the Hippocratic Oath. It kind of gets in the way of their eugenics programs. You know, like do no harm, yet they murdered children, unborn babies, and you know, assisted death for older people and things like that. So Hippocratic Oath is really getting in the way of them doing what the New World Order wants them to do. I know that sounds all conspiracy theory, but it's just plain fact. If you don't realize this, you're walking around with your eyes closed. And you're part of the problem rather than part of the answer. But anyhow, getting back to what I was doing this supposedly short video for, was to let those people know that I've compiled a document that has a whole bunch of links to these videos which contain a lot of the new research. They're essentially continuing professional development videos for doctors and medical professionals. So some of them get a bit technical in the biochemistry and whatever, but I found that there was just so much info once I started diving down this rabbit hole of keto and low carb healthy fat, that it was overwhelming. Where do I start? And I watched this video, that video, and there were just so many, and people say, what's your secret? And where would I start? And so I compiled this document and I put them into broad, rough categories, because it's really hard to categorize them because every one of them touches on a whole bunch of different topics. So I've categorized them in terms of the main item of interest or the main topic of their talk, or whatever. But it's just to give people an idea of where to start. So if you want to get access to this information, what we do is we can go to garthclarkson.com. What a shameless plug, yes. And once you're at garthclarkson.com, you go to Health and KetoLinks. And that will bring up this document. Now in this document, I've got the introduction, all the legal stuff and whatever, and then I've arranged them all into a table of contents. And it's really meant to facilitate your research, what you're most interested in, and just follow that. Like if you've got diabetes, go to the diabetes section down here. If you've got heart disease, go to the cholesterol and heart and cardiology, any of those. Just look at the topics and pick out one that seems interesting to you. What I'd suggest to everybody is that they look at the Widowmaker movie, and that they would check out things like the Why Low Carb by Dr. Peter Bruckner. The Widowmaker movie. See down here, all of these are links to videos. Any of Ivor Cummings' stuff is interesting, very interesting, especially with his encouragement for people to get the cardiovascular calcium scan, which can actually record the extent of heart disease with a photo. $150, and you know the extent of your heart disease. None of this guesswork and making up formulas depending on the blood tests. It just takes a photo of your heart disease. Why don't we know about this? you make a hell of a lot more money treating the disease than you do curing it, is all I have to say. But these doctors are brave, and they've got a conscience, and they're actually sticking to their they're sticking to why they became doctors in the first place, which was to heal people, not just to make money or to be rich, like seems to be the trend these days. So here's a very good one that I'd recommend to anybody. Dr. Stephen Finney, troubleshooting the ketogenic diet.
Okay, so let me just tell you a very...
In here,
essentially milk.
He's got this amazing chart, which when you give this to your doctor, he can show them that their fear of ketoacidosis is completely unfounded. Diabetic ketoacidosis, although it can be triggered by certain drugs like empagliflozin or any of the gliflozins, can cause a cascading response into DKA. So you need to find a doctor who, if you go keto, is not going to keep you on something like Jardiance, because that could kill you. But apart from those drugs that are meant to fight the effects of blood sugar in your system, keto is actually quite safe. But this is why you need to have a doctor, so that you can work through it with him. So we have on the left, most people are around 0 in terms of ketones in their blood, because they are relying on glucose and glycogen in the muscles to provide energy. But once you become fat adapted after a couple of months of being low carb, you get into the optimal zone of between 0.5 and 3.0 in terms of beta hydroxybutyrate in the bloodstream. That's a healthy range, and that's 3.0. Ketoacidosis that is life-threatening doesn't come till 10 plus 10. So how can you confuse plus 10 with plus 3 maximum? If you measure your ketones, you can get these strips just like your blood glucose strips, and you can measure your blood ketones. I've been not so strict lately, and so mine's only around the 0.5. When I get serious, I'm usually between the 1.5 and the 2.5, which is pretty amazing because most diabetics have a hard time getting up to 1.0. So this is why I can take it a bit easier, because I seem to be recovering from my diabetes a lot quicker than the average person. So there you go. So this and a lot of excellent resources can be found on the Low Carb Down Under website. So rather than play it all for you, yes, I will recommend that you go to garthclarkson.com, click on health, go to KetoLinks and download this document, or check back regularly, because anytime there's something that I watch that is noteworthy, I'll throw it in the KetoLinks document. And so all the latest is always being updated. So if you're too busy, whatever, I'm doing some of that work for you. Yes, so there you go. Hopefully that's been helpful, and I am feeling a lot better now, so hopefully I'll be able to start making videos again. Yes, so thanks for watching, especially if you've lasted this long during my raving on, and hope to see you soon with some more interesting content.